Hello, Peter. I'm so glad we finally found some time to sit down and discuss this topic. I have been thinking a lot about our next lesson plan, and I feel like we really need to focus on something fundamental today. Many of our students keep mixing up the core elements of everyday conversation, and it slows down their progress.
Hi, Nicol. It is great to see you too. I completely agree with you. Getting the basics right is absolutely crucial. If the foundation is shaky, everything built on top of it will struggle. What specific area of grammar did you have in mind for us to tackle first?
Well, I was observing a few conversations yesterday, and it hit me that almost every sentence we use out there relies on a very specific group of small words. People use them constantly without even realizing it, yet they form the backbone of how we identify who is performing an action.
That is so true, Nicol. When you think about it, we cannot even introduce ourselves or talk about others properly without these words. They set the stage for any tense we want to use, whether we are talking about daily routines or things happening at this very moment.
Exactly, Peter. That is why I want us to look at how these essential words connect directly with the present simple and the present continuous tenses today. If we can clarify this connection, it will clear up a massive amount of confusion for English learners.
I love that idea, Nicol. It is the perfect starting point for anyone wanting to sound more natural and confident. Let's dive right into the details and show everyone how it works.
Okay, so here's something to think about. Every single sentence you say in English relies on just 7 little words, personal pronouns. Without them, we'd be lost in a sea of confusion. Today, we're diving into how these tiny words shape 2 of the most important tenses in English, the present simple and present continuous. That's a great way to start because personal pronouns really are the foundation of everything. I mean, without I, or they, how would we even know who's doing what? So, where do we begin?
Let's start with the basics. Personal pronouns are I, you, we, they, he, she, and it. Each one represents a subject in a sentence, and they're crucial because they determine how verbs are conjugated. For example, I eat versus he eats. That little S makes all the difference.
Right, and I think he, she, and it are where people often get tripped up because of that extra S or S in the present simple. Why is that rule so specific to those pronouns?
It's just one of those quirks of English grammar. In the present simple tense, when the subject is he, she, or it, we add S or S to the base verb. For example, she runs every morning, or it rains a lot in April. It's a small change, but it's a big deal grammatically.
That makes sense. So the present simple is all about habits and facts, right? Can you explain its main uses?
Absolutely. The present simple is used for habits, routines, general truths, and facts. For example, I drink coffee every morning describes a habit, while the earth orbits the sun states a universal truth. It's the tense we use when we're talking about things that don't change much over time.
Oh, so it's not about what's happening right now, but more about things that are consistent or universal. That's a helpful distinction.
Exactly. Now let's break it down into 3 forms: affirmative, negative, and questions. In the affirmative form, the structure is simple, subject plus base verb. But remember, for he, she, and it, we add that S or S. For example, I read books becomes she reads books.
Got it. And for the negative form, we use do not or does not, right?
That's correct. In the negative form, we say, I do not like spicy food, or he does not play basketball. In spoken English, you'll often hear the contractions don't and doesn't, which make it sound more natural.
And how do we form questions in the present simple?
For questions, it's all about starting with do or does, followed by the subject and then the base verb. For instance, do you live in New York? Or does she work on weekends? It's a straightforward structure once you get the hang of it.
That seems pretty logical. So the present simple is all about regular actions, habits, and general truths. But what about the present continuous? How is it different?
Great question. The present continuous is all about actions that are happening right now at the moment of speaking. The structure is subject plus am slash is slash are plus verb ending in -ing. For example, I am speaking now, or she is reading a book.
Okay, so this tense is focused on what's happening in the present moment. What about the negative form?
For the negative, we simply add not after the auxiliary verb. For example, I am not watching TV, or they are not playing soccer. You'll also hear contractions like isn't and aren't in casual conversation.
And for questions?
To form questions, we invert the subject and the auxiliary verb. For example, are you listening to me? Or is he cooking dinner? It's a simple switch, but it changes the sentence entirely.
That's pretty clear. But I think the tricky part is knowing when to use the present simple versus the present continuous. Can we compare them?
Of course. Let's compare them with some examples. In the present simple, I might say I work in an office, which means that's my usual job. But in the present continuous, I could say, I am working in the garden, which means that's what I'm doing right now.
So, the present simple is about habits or facts, while the present continuous focuses on actions happening at the moment.
Exactly. Here's another example. He plays the guitar means he knows how to play and does it regularly. But he is playing the guitar means he's playing it right now as we speak.
That's a helpful distinction. Are there any common mistakes learners should watch out for?
One common mistake is using the present simple when they should use the present continuous, or vice versa. For example, saying, I watch TV now, instead of, I am watching TV now. Another mistake is forgetting to add s or es in the third person singular in present simple, like saying, she play piano, instead of, she plays piano.
That's true. I've also noticed that some people forget to use the ing form of the verb in the present continuous, like saying he is play soccer instead of he is playing soccer.
Exactly. Paying attention to these details makes a big difference. Another tip is to listen to how native speakers use these tenses in context. Over time, it becomes more intuitive.
That's great advice. Before we wrap up, let's summarize the key points. The present simple is used for habits, routines, and general truths. Its structure is subject plus base verb, and we add s or s for he, she, and it.
Right. And the present continuous is used for actions happening right now. Its structure is subject plus am slash is slash are plus verb ending in dashing. The key is to understand the context of the action, whether it's habitual or happening in the moment.
Perfect. I think this will really help anyone struggling with these two tenses. Thanks for breaking it down so clearly.
My pleasure. Remember, practice is key. Try creating your own sentences using both tenses, and don't be afraid to make mistakes. That's how you learn. Wow, Nicol, that was an amazing breakdown. Laying it out side by side like that really highlights how simple the logic behind these tenses actually is, even if the minor details require some getting used to.
I agree, Peter. It always comes down to stepping back and looking at the big picture. Once a learner stops stressing over every individual word and starts focusing on whether an action is a routine or happening right now, things just start clicking.
That is a fantastic point to end on. I think if our listeners take away just one habit from today, it should be to actively notice these structures whenever they read an article or watch a video in English. Active observation does wonders for building that intuition we talked about.
It absolutely does, Peter. Well, I think we managed to cover a lot of ground today, and hopefully, this gives everyone a boost of confidence for their next conversation. I am already looking forward to our next deep dive.
Me too, Nicole. To everyone out there studying hard, keep practicing, keep experimenting with your sentences, and never worry about being perfect right out of the gate.
Well said, Peter. See you next time, and happy learning to everyone.